So Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the two little hucksters from Montecito, they're going crawling back to the UK.
Witness intimidation, dishonesty, fraud, and conspiracy. Those are some of the allegations against Prince Harry and his legal team.
Meghan Markle's insane list of diva demands absolutely went viral, so much so that Meghan has apparently hit back at the claims. Are you sitting down for this?
It really is the end of the American dream, as Prince Harry's propagandists at Us Weekly admit not only is he losing it, totally full of what they describe as anxiety.
Harry's trial in some great detail on how it was structured, why the journalists have not been in court and why they are not being questioned, and some general guidance on how cross-examination works.
The Sussex team, there's the Sussex PR team, as they can
Yeah, the PR team, yeah.
Some highly manipulative storylines to try to pressure the royal family.
What are we talking about today? Well, I'm going to be giving some insight into this crazy woman and her demands. This is how inflated her big head is. Meghan is making some very unreasonable demands.
Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex. An exclusive in The Sun on Sunday, Rafe. Meg's summer return. The Duchess of Sussex is planning to return to the United Kingdom for the first time in 4 years. Meghan is due to join hubby Prince Harry at an Invictus Games event in Birmingham.
Why the comparisons with Princess Diana should end for the Princess of Wales.
And the Sussex camp is in Operation Security Overdrive, pulling out all the manipulative tactics you can imagine.
Meghan Markle's list of royal demands is wild. Also, her first product of 2026, a leather bookmark?
Hey, Michael, good morning. Yeah, Prince Harry's court case against Associated Newspapers, that's the publisher behind the Daily Mail, is set to begin Monday, and ABC News understands that Prince Harry will be there on opening day.
Literally plotting to return to the United Kingdom, a country that she has decried as racist.
Prince Harry is heading back to the UK, but let's be real, this is not the victory lap he thinks it is. This is a comeback wrapped in chaos because his massive court battle against the Daily Mail is starting to unravel fast, and it's getting ugly. We're talking claims of witness pressure, signatures that don't line up, paid statements, and a legal squad that includes someone once convicted for phone hacking. Yeah, that part is wild. And if this case crashes and burns, Harry could be staring down a bill of £38 million. No exaggeration, no typo, just a brutal number that could flip everything upside down. What makes this whole situation even crazier is the timing.
It says the Duke will fly to Britain for the opening of the trial against Associated Newspapers on Monday. He's due to give evidence on Thursday, and oh boy, will that be fun. David Sherborne for the claimants told the court on Thursday that the publisher planned to make exceptionally serious allegations that were wholly objectionable. You know, when your feet are held to the fire and you're asked to account for your activities and they may be not all above board, that is just so incredibly hard to stomach, isn't it? He said he would object to the association's skeleton argument being made public unless multiple express allegations of serious wrongdoing by some of the claimants' legal representatives were removed. Well, aren't they making serious allegations? Anyways, claims exceptionally serious. The allegations are exceptionally serious of fraud, dishonesty, and professional misconduct.
All of this is blowing up while Harry is also trying to muscle his way back into taxpayer-funded royal security, allegedly leaning on wounded veterans to strengthen his argument. Stick with me, because once these dots connect, the pattern starts looking real loud. So what is Harry actually suing over? He's targeting Associated Newspapers, the Daily Mail's parent company, accusing journalists of using private investigators to dig up dirt more than 20 years ago. Old school tactics, allegedly. We're talking hidden listening devices, cars being monitored, private phone records accessed, and personal conversations pulled apart piece by piece. The full spy movie playbook. Harry isn't flying solo either. He's rolled in 6 other high-profile figures, including Elton John and Baroness Lawrence, turning this into a heavyweight legal showdown.
I've seen multiple pieces where Robert Jobson wrote one. The one I'm referring to here is the Daily Mail, and I apologize for not knowing the author of that one. But people saying, we need to pump the brakes when it comes to the Princess Diana comparisons. For instance, it's Richard Fitzwilliams that talks to the Daily Mail.
The trial is set to drag on for 9 intense weeks of testimony, evidence, and pressure-packed cross-examinations. But here's where things start looking shaky. The Daily Mail's legal team isn't playing defense. They're firing straight at Harry's lawyers with some extremely serious accusations, and that's when this case stops looking simple and starts looking dangerous. And let's be clear, the problem here isn't some tiny paperwork mix-up or boring procedural gripe. According to court documents, the accusations aimed at Harry and his wife's legal side are explosive. We're talking claims of dishonesty, fraud, and even conspiracy. This is courtroom chaos at a whole different level.
The last thing the Invictus Games wants, and we've seen it when they were in Toronto and everything, it becomes the Meghan show. They don't want that. And this is what they want it to be about. The service personnel who will be competing, that is the primary objective. Remember the Invictus Game, it wasn't always Harry's personal fiefdom. It was something that was set up with both the King and the now King, William and Harry. It was a sort of triumvirate because they both, both William and Harry understood they needed to do something for servicemen and they had ambitions for it. But it obviously then developed into Harry's show. And I think that's the problem. It wasn't just, everyone said, well, this is Harry's. It wasn't always that way. But it is now, but we don't need it to become the soap opera that will be Meghan in this town. The security would be absolutely fine for her coming to this event. Always. So, I just know it's a wretched excuse.
At the center of this mess is a witness named Gavin Burrows. He's a private investigator, and his testimony was allegedly crucial in convincing the other claimants to jump into this lawsuit in the first place. But now everything is blowing up because Burrows says the witness statement dated August 2021, the one attributed to him, was written by other people without his knowledge. And here's the part that really makes jaws drop.
If they lose this case, the cost is quite high, to the tunes of tens of millions of pounds. This is an absolute disaster. And one witness is so scared he won't even tell either side where he is currently living. My suggestion would be to Harry and anybody associated with this case is to just pack up and move.
Burrows claims the signature on that statement is not even his. He says it was forged. Let that sink in for a second. The witness whose words helped kick off this entire legal battle is now saying the statement was false from top to bottom and signed without consent. If that's true, this isn't sloppy lawyering. This is serious alleged fraud. But it doesn't stop there.
Harry, and we've seen this endlessly from him at this point, he is a bitter, angry man. He's very, very angry, very, very vengeful, very, very vindictive. And unfortunately for many of the people associated with this case, he is dragging them down with him. Because I really don't think this case has anything to do with the Daily Mail, really have anything to do with their supposed and alleged nefarious practices 15 to 20 years ago, like even plus 20 years ago. It really doesn't have anything to do with that. All of this is about salvaging Harry's ego, and he might destroy himself financially in order to do it, and other people as well, which I think is just...
Burrows is now so frightened that he refuses to tell either side where he's currently living. Think about that. A key witness in a massive court case is so scared that he doesn't want the claimant's lawyers or the defense lawyers to know his location. The situation is so extreme that the judge is reportedly considering an unusual move where only the court knows where this witness is, nobody else. That's how deep the fear runs. Burrows' own lawyer told the court he believes giving evidence could put him at personal risk. And why is that fear so intense? Because there are now allegations swirling about possible witness intimidation. Reports say Byline Times contacted Burrows right before he was scheduled to testify, and that timing is raising some very uncomfortable questions. They allegedly told him they were about to publish an article about him, and Burrows took that as a straight-up pressure move right before the trial kicked off. From his perspective, the timing wasn't random. It felt like a warning shot. And when a witness reads it that way, the courtroom gets very uncomfortable, very fast.
Says Harry's lawyers accused of dishonesty, fraud, and conspiracy. So, although Harry is again claiming to want to save the British media, he is, you could say, resorting, quote unquote, to their practices in order to try to achieve his results. But will he really achieve them? Will this really accomplish anything? Again, I don't think so. But let's go ahead and get into the article. It says the Duke of Sussex's lawyers have been accused of dishonesty, fraud, and conspiracy in his High Court claim against the publisher of the Daily Mail. Prince Harry, Baroness Lawrence, and Sir Elton John are among the 7 claimants seeking damages over allegations that journalists hired private investigators to place listening devices in cars, blag private records, and access private phone conversations. And again, most of this happened and was able to be done 20 plus years ago.
Now, here's another detail that should make anyone pause. Harry's legal research team includes Graham Johnson. And who is Graham Johnson? He's a former journalist who was convicted for phone hacking while working at the News of the World years ago. Let that land for a second. So Harry is suing newspapers for allegedly using illegal methods to invade privacy, while someone on his own team has a proven history of doing exactly that. The contradiction is loud, messy, and impossible to ignore, but it keeps stacking up. The Daily Mail's lawyers are also claiming that certain witnesses may have been paid for their testimony, and once money enters the picture, credibility takes a serious hit. Courts rely on sworn statements being clean, not influenced by cash or favors. It's the same issue you see with incentive-driven witnesses. Maybe they're telling the truth, maybe they're not, but once there's a payout involved, doubt creeps in fast, and doubt is deadly in a courtroom.
If you have a flip-flopping witness in a civil case, I would say drop the civil case and move on. This is not worth it. This is just not worth it. Mr. Burroughs has been unable to attend court as he lives abroad and has been advised not to take long-haul flights due to medical condition. The judge said he may be forced to take a very unorthodox approach of allowing the court to know his location, but not the parties. Otherwise, he asked whether solicitors and counsel could be made aware of his whereabouts on the basis that they must not share it more widely. Mr. Poole said his client was considering his position. The Associated Newspapers is a subsidiary of the Daily Mail and General Trust, Lord Rothermore's holding company, which has agreed to acquire the Telegraph for $500 million. Proposed takeover expected to face regulatory scrutiny in the coming weeks. I actually did not know that piece of information, but that is very interesting.
Now let's talk money, because this is where things get brutal. This 9-week trial is expected to cost around £38 million. That's why the court had to hold a separate hearing, just to make sure everyone involved understood the financial risk if this case collapses. Under British civil law, if you lose, you don't just pay your own legal fees. You also cover the other side's costs. That rule exists to stop weak or reckless lawsuits, and suddenly it matters a whole lot here. Most of the claimants have insurance that only covers roughly £2 million. If costs blow past that limit, the rest comes straight out of their own pockets. We're talking life-altering money. And here's the nightmare scenario. If Harry somehow wins his individual claim but the other 6 lose theirs,
to Prince Harry, back in court battling the tabloids. He's expected to return to the UK next week for a lawsuit against the publishers of the Daily Mail.
Harry walks away clean, while the rest are left holding a massive legal bill they may not be able to pay. That's when alliances fracture and this story turns even darker. He's literally pulling other people into potential financial ruin right alongside him. And for what?
Let's say truly going on with this court case. Because Harry seems to think this is going to be a slam dunk for him. He's feeling very bullish about all of this. But he's lost quite a few cases before this. And even when he's won, I think really at the end of the day, he's won sort of pennies. He hasn't really won that much monetarily. I actually think it's good in a lot of ways that sometimes the civil payouts are really low because sometimes it just avoids frivolous lawsuits, which I personally think this sort of is.
Most of the alleged actions at the center of this lawsuit happened 20 to 25 years ago. That's a lifetime ago in media years. The world of journalism has completely shifted since then. Social media changed everything. Celebrities don't need paparazzi anymore. They post their own lives nonstop. The aggressive tabloid culture from back in the day has mostly faded out. Chasing this now feels like swinging at ghosts. It's a dead mission. But here's the real point. This was never really about the Daily Mail or old newsroom tactics. This is personal. This is about Harry's pride, his frustration, and his unresolved anger. And instead of letting it go, he's willing to torch millions of pounds and drag other people straight into financial chaos just to feel vindicated. Now this is where it all connects, so pay attention because this is the pressure play in real time. Harry is reportedly returning to the UK in July for an Invictus Games countdown event in Birmingham. And according to leaked reports, Meghan will only attend if her exact conditions are met. And they're intense. We're talking entire hotel floors shut down just for her team, armed security everywhere, luxury vehicles on standby around the clock, drivers waiting 24/7. And yes, reports even mention requests for bullet-resistant glass at the venue. At a veterans sporting event, read that again. On top of that, there are claims that anyone interacting with her must address her as Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex.
We're worried about the Invictus Games turning into the Meghan show. So the royal family can't do what they want because it'll all be about Meghan. So that is the kind of, how do we make sure that we can be seen to be on the front foot? They're not that, it's a never explain, never complain philosophy they have, but they've got to start making sure their PR, because public opinion in Britain needs to be seen that the royal family have a relevance. And amongst 20-somethings, it might be to think, well, looks all right, but what does it mean? Means the square root, to most people. They look like they're living, that's where they've got their own problems. And they don't want to be hearing about royal family, soap opera family thing.
Despite the fact that the HRH style is no longer permitted since they stepped away as working royals, that contradiction alone raises eyebrows. So the obvious question is, who's paying for all this? Is it coming from Invictus resources, donations meant to support wounded veterans? Because if even a fraction of that is true, it's deeply uncomfortable. And here's the timing that really matters. These stories about security fears, stalkers, and extreme demands are surfacing right now, just as a major decision is being weighed over whether Harry should receive automatic armed protection while in the UK.
We are dealing with lawyers, and lawyers like to sue, and Harry likes to sue. So let's just be extra careful today. So let's go ahead and start talking about the craziness of this case. And there's been a lot of allegations flying around about, a lot of it really having to do with sort of witness intimidation when the witnesses is just simply petrified of everybody, it seems like. We also have, of course, dishonesty, fraud, paying for witnesses, these sorts of things, which just makes Harry's case look, it just makes it look bad and distasteful. And why he's bringing this case is he's claiming he's trying to, you could argue, fix the British press system. Because, it's against him and his wife. So the whole system must be bad if people don't agree.
That's not coincidence. That's strategy. This looks like a coordinated PR push designed to corner both the royal family and the government into granting security. Even the so-called stalker being referenced appears in past photos with Harry at public events. Reports suggest she's a devoted supporter, a superfan, not some hidden threat. This isn't about danger, it's about optics. And once you see that pattern, it's impossible to unsee it. They're spinning all of this as proof that Harry desperately needs armed security.
So another development ahead of the 9-week trial, which cost £38 million, by the way, they had to have a separate hearing just to make sure everybody knew that they may have to pay millions upon millions of dollars for this case if they lose. Because at least when it comes to Harry here in this instance, everybody, I guess, is insured for about £2 million. But if the damages or whatever, or the costs go above that, they might have to be on the hook for all of it. Or let's say Harry, who's spearheading this, gets bumped off the case, like he wins his case, but everybody else loses, then they're stuck with 38 million pounds. Like, this is just a lose-lose scenario. I just don't understand how any of these people think this is a good idea. I mean, more money than sense, I gotta tell them. The court heard that Gavin Burrows, a private investigator who disputed evidence, was instrumental in persuading many of the claimants to sue, believes there has been a blatant attempt to intimidate him on the eve of the trial.
Meanwhile, the Metropolitan Police just took a £260 million budget cut, but Harry still expects round-the-clock protection in a country he doesn't even live in anymore. He's not a working royal, yet he wants privileges no other non-working royal receives. That disconnect is glaring, and let's be honest about Invictus Games for a moment. At the last event in Canada, reports surfaced that veterans were furious and wanted Meghan gone early. Now, there are warnings of boycotts if she shows up again, because many veterans feel this stopped being about them a long time ago. They believe they're being used as props for a polished image reset, and that resentment is boiling over. What makes this even harder to swallow is the contrast. Meghan's own father is reportedly recovering in hospital after losing a leg, yet there's been no public sign of contact. Still, cameras are welcome when it comes to posing with wounded veterans. That double standard is impossible to ignore. There's a reason most European royals deliberately stay away from Invictus events. They believe the spotlight belongs on the veterans, not the royals. But Harry and Meghan seem determined to turn it into a full-blown PR spectacle, complete with armored convoys and luxury hotel takeovers. Now zoom out, because the pattern matters. Harry keeps filing lawsuits, and the results keep falling flat. Even when he technically wins, the payouts are tiny compared to the legal bills piling up. But he can't stop.
I can jump on my Peloton and pretend I'm there, and that's fine by me. I know we have another Prince William story. We're gonna. I moved our Prince William story to the bottom because I think it's actually related to some of the other stories we're going to talk about in the lead up. So I thought it would be a nice bow on at the end of our package. But let's talk about something that I know is going to annoy the hell out of you. Meghan Markle's upcoming UK visit depends on one thing, insiders say. Meghan could return to the UK this year for the first time since 2022. It has been reported that she could be joined by her husband, Prince Harry, at an Invictus Games event in Birmingham in July. The event will be to mark the one-year countdown party, which is something that we typically see them do. Well, and then Harry will sit down and do an interview with Good Morning America or whoever, but he also does that as well. We've seen when he does this.
Courtrooms have become his comfort zone because they make him feel like he's fighting a cause. And here's the wild irony. Harry is suing the press for invading his privacy, yet the most private details of his life were shared by Harry himself. Through his book Spare, through interviews, through documentaries on Netflix, and through a sit-down with Oprah Winfrey. No reporter forced him to reveal deeply personal family moments. That was his choice. The press didn't push him to publicly relive private arguments, embarrassing moments, or deeply intimate memories. He put it all out there himself, then turned around and blamed the media for the fallout. That contradiction undercuts his entire argument. And here's the kicker. The Daily Mail is likely making more money covering Harry's court appearances now than anything they ran decades ago. He's feeding the very machine he claims to despise. Drama sells, and he keeps delivering it nonstop.
She's demanding bulletproof glass, 4 levels of hotels, her whole staff accommodated, no one look her in the eye. My goodness. This woman just continues to, I guess, not surprise me. That's what her MO is. And it's just so weird because this could all be so easy to poo-poo and like to debunk. And she won't, because she wants us to think she's this royal that gets all this. And I think there's a version where this might actually happen because Invictus Games will pay for it. And then if she gets this armed security, well, that's the one thing they were waiting on to show, see, We deserved it. Our status is that important that we have armed security in the UK, which not even Taylor Swift is allowed to have, or anybody else who come mega actual celebrities. That's what they want. They thrive on being special. They thrive on being elite.
This is what happens when you're surrounded by yes men and lawyers who get paid whether you win or lose. Harry's legal team is racking up millions regardless of the outcome. They don't take the hit, Harry does. And when the dust settles, it won't be the newspapers facing consequences. It won't be the palace. It'll be Harry, financially drained and publicly exposed. Because at the core of this, Harry isn't fighting the media or the monarchy. He's fighting the mess he helped create. He's the one who went on global platforms and criticized his family. He's the one who published the book. He's the one who aired everything out. Until he accepts that reality, nothing improves. It only gets worse. Now here's where things stand. The trial begins Monday. Harry is scheduled to testify Thursday, and the big question is whether he even makes it to the stand. If cross-examined, it won't be gentle. They'll ask about inconsistencies, they'll ask about paid witnesses, they'll ask about disputed signatures, and they'll absolutely ask why he's suing over privacy while sharing more personal information than any newspaper ever printed. My prediction? He settles. He takes a face-saving deal, spins it as a moral win, and walks away before things get truly brutal. Because a full loss in open court would be too damaging, even for him. And while all this is happening, financial questions are reportedly swirling around their charity foundation, adding yet another layer of scrutiny. The pressure is coming from every direction. As for Invictus and the security demands, King Charles III is not expected to attend. And that's the smart move. Showing up would hand Harry the legitimacy he's chasing, and the British public would back that decision without hesitation. People are exhausted. They don't want to fund this. They don't want the drama imported back into the UK. They're done with the pressure tactics and the constant victim narrative. So connect the dots. A lawsuit unraveling, security demands rejected, veterans pushing back, deals collapsing, public patience gone. The trial starts Monday. Harry testifies Thursday. If you want to see how this unravels in real time, hit subscribe right now. Smash the notification bell, drop a comment, and tell me, will he settle or will he testify? Let's watch this unfold together.